Sonic Movie Show is a weekly show that you can find on a variety of podcast services. Keep up with us by following our Twitter at Sonic Movie Show. What's up, Sonic movie fans, and welcome to the 79th episode of the Sonic Movie Show. My name is Ethan. With me here, as always, is Devin.
Why do we play Sonic the Hedgehog? We get picked on, made fun of, and bullied for it. It's because we love him. We love him in his every moment, and we always will love our Sonic the Hedgehog.
That's obviously not a quote from a Sonic anything. Is that someone's
yeah, it is.
on
It's
a
from,
forum thread?
It's from Pinterest.
Of course.
So it is a Sonic thing. It has a picture of Sonic.
Where all Sonic fans congregate is Pinterest.
There's
is it
a lot of
Pinterest or Pinterest.
Pinterest. It might be spelled Pinterest, but it's Pinterest. Pinterest. The E is silent. But I was going to say, there's a lot of garbage. There's a whole bunch of keep calm and blank Sonic stuff. I'm actually surprised.
Are you going to be referencing those for the next 15 episodes of Sonic quotes?
I mean, I don't know what quotes I've done anymore, so I'm like, at least I can pull from Tumblr, and there's a lot of garbage.
I mean, you could fool me. I don't keep
track. Calm and say chaos control.
But you're not calm if you're chaos controlling.
Who needs swag when you're Sonic?
That's true. I would replace that with Knuckles, though. In any case, on today's episode of the Sonic Movie Show, we're talking about news. We have a few big things to talk about, at least in terms of what impacts they have on this show. Number one, put this to a side, no new Sonic video game news, unfortunately. Sonic has continued its streak of nothing to say.
Silence.
Remember last year when we were supposed to have something every month to talk about? And they
lied.
Stopped after the month they announced that?
That's why I pulled out all my stocks in Sega.
Yeah, of course.
Because they lied to me.
Of course. Crazy Taxi on iPhone didn't rake in enough for you.
Bye.
Exactly. Yeah, to the tune of the Disturbs. Yeah. Bye.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
So besides that, we're going to be continuing to talk about not Sonic video game stuff by talking about movie news and kind of adjacent to Sega stuff. Why don't you kick it off with some Warner Brothers Godzilla stuff?
Yeah, so I'm a Godzilla fan, but I'm not here to talk about the movie in terms of what's in it. I'm here to talk about the money it made. So Godzilla vs. Kong, I believe, already surpassed $50 million in its opening weekend, or opening week rather, which already makes it better than Wonder Woman did. And this is including it being on HBOMax. In previous episodes, we talked about the pros and cons about movies being available in movie theaters and also on streaming services the same day. We talked about, okay, what if it was the first week it's in movie theaters, then it's on streaming services and vice versa. But Godzilla vs. Kong is doing really well to the point of where people are like, oh, people don't care about this pandemic anymore are going to see this movie again. And I think that there's a discussion there. Or this also could just be an outlier. It also could just be people were excited to see Godzilla versus King Kong. But I kind of feel it's the latter, or the first one, where it's a mix of people just not caring anymore and maybe marketing for this movie too. Because I feel like Wonder Woman is the same level of, hype, maybe compared to Godzilla vs. Kong, if not more.
It's a summer action blockbuster with a name that is recognizable.
Yeah, and we really I don't know if we have the stats on Wonder Woman with HBO Max. I know it was the number one for a little bit on HBO Max, but it also came out on Christmas, so everyone was watching it.
And
probably.
Warner can say whatever they want on that platform. That's what's difficult with Netflix, right? They can lie and say an Adam Sandler film is number one forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it didn't do too well in the box office, though, Wonder Woman. And there was a lot of worry going in for Godzilla vs. Kong, but it did really well in China, in Japan, Asia in general. And then it came to the United States a week later, and it has done really well. And like I said, the question is now, was this and people said that it's doing well on right. I've read that it has been doing well on HBO Max as well, and it seems that HBO Max didn't really hurt its box office when people thought maybe it would. I know I had that opinion 6 months ago where I was like, once I heard that Godzilla was going to be on HBO Max too, I was like, well, it's going to do shit in the box office now, especially with the pandemic going on. It's already going to do shit because of the pandemic. And now it's going to do even worse since it's going to be on HBO Max. Granted, HBO paid, I think, I don't remember what the money was, but it was basically $200 million, I think, for each movie to be on its service the same day as movie theaters from Warner Brothers. And the movie's budget was $200 million, so it made its money back just being on the streaming service. So anything else on top of that is a win. Granted, this movie isn't going to make maybe $500 million globally, but it's doing much better than any movie has done prior to this pandemic. And it's showing that potentially people are going back to the movies, or people are excited to go back to the movies. I think we have to talk about, though, too, is people who are sick of the pandemic, or is it also people just getting vaccinated and are feeling more comfortable going to movie theaters? And are people just hyped to be like going back to doing normal things again? How many people maybe only saw a movie once or twice a year went and saw Godzilla versus Kong in theaters?
Right.
But on top of all that news, and whether or not you think it's a bad or good idea, Warner Brothers announced earlier today, that their blockbusters will debut in theaters first in 2022 before heading to streaming. So it will not be day one anymore. For 2021, it will still be same day. So Mortal Kombat, which we're going to review when it comes out.
Yep.
This month, a couple weeks rather, will be on HBO Max day one for 31 days. It'll do that for the rest of 2021, but 2022, movies like The Batman won't be on HBO Max at first, but they still have a deal in place that they will be after they're done in theaters. I don't know how long, if it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks, 2 weeks, or 2 months. We don't really know that yet. But I guess on the Vox podcast, CEO John Killer said that they're reversing what they were agreed with Warner Brothers. And the Killer also said this. Killer said, quote, this is from CNBC and also from the Vox podcast. I think it's very fair to say that a big, let's say a big DC movie, it's very fair to say that they would go exclusively to theaters first and then go to somewhere like HBO Max after it's in theaters. I forgot what his other quote was, but there was another quote that said, like, I think in hindsight we would have not agreed to the deal that is currently in place. So I feel like maybe what they're seeing with Godzilla vs. Kong, and maybe even from Wonder Woman as well, even though I don't think Wonder Woman did as well financially or even close to what Godzilla vs. Kong did, maybe they see that like we could have made more money. People want to go back to the theaters.
And it makes sense. Like you release a film like The Batman, you can only see it in theaters like a traditional movie releasing that's new would. And then as soon as it's not in theaters anymore, it's available on your streaming platform, because that's where you, Warner Brothers, your current set your eyes on where the money's coming from is going to be. You still want that to be driving up new subscriber bases. It's almost double dipping. You have a new movie releasing in theaters that's going to rake in you money, and then as soon as it's gone, you have a new movie to drive people to your subscription thing. Yeah. And like a movie like The Batman might be enough to double dip the same person. They might see it in theaters, and as soon as it's gone, they might subscribe to HBO Max to see it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think this is also interesting too, because you remember back in December, I think it was December, might have been a little bit earlier, when the news was, oh yeah, in 2021, we're going to do this with all of our movies. It's going to be day and date HBO Max and theaters, not just Wonder Woman. And AMC threw a fit like it does every single time one of these, production companies, these giant media empires says, hey, no one can see a movie in theaters. We're going to try to, whatever. And there was we had this conversation or fears, is this going to be the way it is from now on? I think that, honest to God, this is the best case scenario. And honestly, the preferred case for me. I'm not a fan of, as soon as a movie leaves theaters, you just can't see it for months.
until it's on
until
DVD.
Like, well, now,
or rent.
In recent years, it's like now it's available on digital services to rent or buy,
for
like
$30.
You know what I mean? Why have you wait? I understand while it's in theaters, you can't watch it at home. I understand wanting that to be a case, but like you're not necessarily building up anticipation or hype in the in-between. You know what I mean? We're not at the point now where it's a literal manufacturing and mastering again for a 4x3, TV with mono sound. You know what I mean? There's none of that anymore. It is literally just, okay, and I am oversimplifying because I don't actually know. It is, in quotes, as simple as drag and drop, so to speak. Or at the very least, that time frame, that timetable can be like a week of, and they're obviously already doing it while the movie's in theaters anyway. I think this is perfect. I love this. As soon as the movie's done in theaters, now it's available on a paid streaming platform. I love it.
I agree, because I was very, very worried. I don't know if I was more worried than you, but I was very
You were more worried than me.
I love movie theaters for the it's so weird. The pandemic's been so long to me that I'm like, I don't know what a movie theater experience feels like anymore. And I know whenever that day comes, I'm just gonna have jitters of excitement. I'm
vaccinated. You're going to be vaccinated, hopefully, in like 3 days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I'm like, I might go see Godzilla vs. Kong. And
I mean, tell me, because I'll go with you.
Okay. And it's exciting to me that, like, the worst case didn't happen. Like you said, my worst case scenario was this was going to be always. From now on, it was either going to be on Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, day one, along with it being in theaters. And then maybe at first people are going to, after the pandemic is over, people are still going to come to the theater, because it's, hey, we can go to the theater again. I can go to a baseball. It's going I think baseball attendance is going to go up just because people are so sick of being inside, and I can go do that again. Hell yeah. I can go to a bar again. That kind of
I was going to say
energy is happening, I think, with Godzilla vs. Kong. But my main worry was long term, if this keeps up, that it was going to be eventually movie theaters are just going to be like only playing the big blockbusters. I actually do like seeing like the smaller films that had $100 million budget, like The Lighthouse. I loved seeing in theaters. Like, it was cool. I wanted more of that, and I feel like that would have gone away if we let the streaming services get away with showing the movie day one.
Right.
Granted, at least right now, like, the Godzilla vs. Kong is the first one to show that it made, I just looked here, $285.4 million in a box office. And that's
tough,
including
though,
with HBO Max. Would it have made more if it wasn't on HBO Max? We don't know.
I guess by default, yeah, because you got to imagine there's at least one person that did not see it in theaters because it was on HBO Max that would have there's at least one person, so yeah.
Yeah.
But it is tough, though, because, like...
Would it have made $200 million? Because that's how much they paid to get on there. I know the director, Adam Wingard, I think his name is, for Godzilla vs. Kong, was saying that he didn't like that it was on HBO Max. He says this movie should have been seen in theaters. So, like...
Yeah,
the directors are mad. I know, what's his name from Tenet there was upset with how that whole thing was.
The movie should have just been delayed till now. And honestly, Tenet would have defeated Godzilla vs. Kong. At least I would have thought. Just because his name carries so much weight. That's on him, honestly. But my thing is people. I'm just gonna go. Maybe my hypothetical version of this person is vaccinated. Maybe they're not, and they're like, you know what? It's been a year. These places have had their shit together. I'm just gonna go, and I'm gonna see this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
My thinking is
so
for a lot of
tell.
it's that.
It's hard to tell. But clearly they got a deal together, which I'm happy with. I agree with you that I think it's actually going to be awesome for the people who are really into streaming services who are like, I haven't gone to a movie theater in years, it's too expensive, but if the Joker is on HBO Max 3 months after it was in theaters, hell yeah, I'll start watching new movies again. Because there's people out there who never see new movies until they can get it at $10 at Walmart on Blu-ray in the bargain bin.
Right.
They won't watch Mad Max until
and it's perfect
5 years
because
later.
we can be talking about a movie whether as people have a podcast or just people on social media or people talking to friends. And like, I might not want to go see it in the theaters, but like, I subscribe to HBO Max, so as soon as it's gone, I can see it a lot sooner, a little bit more fresh on the mind. You know what I mean? When movies are in theaters, there is still a buzz of some degree throughout its
You
span
can even
there.
advertise it. If your HBO Max advertiser is like, still haven't seen The Joker yet, come watch it on our service right now.
Now here is a
Using The Joker, I don't know.
Here's a trick, a tactic, an enticing way to stem this even further. Say they start this in 2022, right? The first movie, whatever they do this with. Keep your movie ticket. Enter it here on hbomax.com/tickets, and you get a 1 month free trial of HBO Max. See this movie as soon as it's gone from theaters again, for free.
Dude, HBO or AMC, whoever, hire us. We're here.
Exactly.
Look, we give you out free ideas. Free ideas.
And it is not a secret idea either about doing this, because Sony's also doing this. Sony Pictures is doing a very similar deal with Netflix. I actually have a short little snippet here from Deadline.com. Netflix and Sony Pictures Entertainment have set significant new licensing deal, giving the streaming giant an exclusive window for the studio's theatrical title starting in 2022. The agreement, which replaces an output arrangement with Lionsgate's own Stars, dating back to 2005, which is what Sony Pictures had been having their deal with before, provides Netflix with an 18-month exclusive window for Sony films. Multiple bidders had been angling for this for some time, but Netflix came out on top, apparently offering a $1 billion over a 4-year period. Essentially, a very similar thing is happening, where the movie is in theaters, and as soon as it's done, it's going to Netflix for 18 months, a year and a half, right? Where that's the only place you'll be able to stream it for a while. Now, there is a second windowing thing, though, which is interesting, because this is going to change depending on the movie and depending on when they start this, because obviously we're still in COVID. It appears as if there is a initial window where it is exclusive, and a second window where you can still pay to rent on like Amazon Prime Video. That happens after the first window, but still technically within that 18 months. The slate will kick off with tentpoles like Morbius, Uncharted, Where the Crawdads Sing, and Bullet Train. And apparently I've also been seeing that Into the Spider-Verse's sequel is one of these as well. So that's interesting. They're doing the same thing with Netflix. I'm sure... I kind of wonder if Disney Plus is considered one of those bidders. But obviously Amazon was trying to get this Hulu, which is owned by Disney. In fact, Disney probably would have done it through Hulu if they were bidding on it. Maybe even Stars again trying to do it. Probably even HBO with Warner Brothers. Yeah. Right? Trying to do it as well. I mean, it makes sense. Honestly. We've said enough about that. I actually kind of wonder, though, now that we have these two giants both doing it, Sony Pictures, Warner Media, both doing this, as soon as it's done in theaters, it's going on a streaming platform, guaranteed type thing. Disney, with Disney Plus. Disney Plus has became it's evolved from a very hopeful, going to be successful at the very least to some degree, venture for Disney, that at the very least in a short term is going to make them money, and then maybe it changes. It has evolved from that because of COVID into gigantic tentpole for them. Like they've accelerated content plans for Star Wars shows, for Marvel shows, way more because of subscribers sticking around. They've been increasing their monthly rates for them, regardless of which bundle you're in, and they're most certainly going to be doing that. They've also been experimenting with this movie that was supposed to be in theaters, kind of is technically still, but you can pay $30 to watch it on Disney Plus before it comes to Disney Plus.
They must have some sort of data somewhere that suggests that is a good idea. I know me and you are not paying $30.
No.
On top of Disney Plus.
That's exactly. In addition to the $8, you're paying another $30 for the ability to watch something before other people get to for like a month and a half. Because that's what the window was for Mulan. And then right now, I think it is still going on right now. Disney Animation Studios, I think just their animation studio is literally just called Disney Animation Studios. Raya and the Last Dragon, starring, I think her name was Marie Tan from Star Wars Last Jedi. I didn't know that. I don't know if she's the main character or she's the dragon, one of the two. Because I haven't seen it, because it's one of those pay $30 to see it. And I'm more than fine waiting, because that was a PNG title until all of a sudden it was on Disney Plus. So it's not like I had hype trailers for it. I don't really care that much. From the studio that brought you Frozen. Yay. That was the second one. And they announced that Black Widow is going to be that too. Which makes me think, geez, why did they delay it from November? Remember, they delayed it from November to essentially what was 1 year from its date because they wanted it in theaters. And then they ended up just putting it on Disney Plus anyway. Man, you could have owned the fall, so to speak, but whatever. Because there wasn't.
They must be getting a decent amount of money from it, or maybe they're seeing a lot of good numbers with the current Marvel stuff that they're like, the whales will buy this. It doesn't matter.
They will.
We'll still sell, even if they get 10 million just from people buying the $30 tickets. It's probably already like, look, we delayed this a year. We already have toys out of this shit. Like, we got the merchandise money. Yeah. We can rehash that quickly. I'm sure there's numbers somewhere. They wouldn't, I think if, after the first times they did the $30 thing, if that didn't work, I think we would have seen something different here.
Oh, yep, for sure.
They must have
Premier access.
Yeah, with the numbers they have somewhere, I'm sure that they're like, people can bitch about the $30, but someone's paying for it.
Because, like, I guarantee how they would explain it to anyone that's like, man, that's a lot of money for a movie that I don't even get to keep. You know what I mean? Because if I stop subscribing, it goes away. Or I could wait a month and a half, 2 months, and I don't need to pay it. Why $30? It's like, well, where Disney Plus is for families, a family is watching this together. Family tickets are going to be more than $30 to see Mulan. Case is closed. You're saving money by doing this. You weren't going to be keeping the movie if you went to theaters anyway, is going to be what they say. Which is true when you look at it like that. If you're a family taking your kid to see Frozen 3 and this was the same deal, you know what I mean? You're spending, at the very least, $30 to do it, and nothing's different. It's just
the 3-0, man. The sound, like, I feel like if it was even 15, I'd be like, maybe.
But again, it is all. I think what really cinches it for me is you also have to be paying for Disney Plus.
Yeah, you're already.
This isn't a separate thing. This isn't like Amazon
It's like the
Video.
Easy Pass in Disney World, bro. You pay to get in, and then you're like, oh, you don't want to wait any longer in the lines, right? You pay an extra $30. You skip the line, bud.
The ticket is having a handicapped person in your group because you will skip the line regardless. And even if it's just you sit down in a room and watch shit, you go in first. It's like crazy.
That's funny.
I know. The Tiki Room in Adventureland or whatever it was.
Probably. I don't even know. I had to go on 3 rides in a day when I went to Disney World as a kid because we had the Easy Pass, and even then we still could only go on 3 rides. It felt like. Because then there was the Easy Pass line.
They were offering us Easy Pass tickets because the Pirates ride was like closed. Sorry, here's some Easy Pass. We're like, we don't need them. Sorry, we're like just wasting them, so we didn't need them. In any case, Easy Pass for Disney Plus is Premier Access, essentially, like you said.
100%.
I mean, would you want to do it for Black Widow? You know what I mean? With like, would we want to do it together to see Black Widow? I don't know.
I'm not that hungry for it. If it was like Avengers,
and we'll be like,
it was Avengers Endgame, I'd have a party. And I'd invite as many people. I'd invite my neighbor to be like, look, I'm trying to get every dime out of this. Sir, like, I don't even know you. You want to watch Avengers? Yeah, sure, okay.
I feel like that's a cost, not a benefit for having somebody you don't know in your house.
But you know what I mean? Just like, I would try to like get in everyone I could involved to like really make that $30 go. I don't know. It just goes back to, I think we were kind of spoiled with the AMC Stubs thing. It, like, to me, $30 is like, I could see 5 movies if I wanted to in a month with that much money. And
that's true.
I don't even know. Can we sign up for that? I haven't checked.
Ooh, I know they delayed it like 3 times. Obviously, I haven't been billed for it.
Me neither. I'm just wondering if I went and saw Godzilla vs Kong, can I? But
they had said
at the same
in
time,
the app,
I have
you
there's
can
no
sign
other
up
movies out that I would
immediately
want to see, so I probably would just pay for the ticket
I
up
don't know.
front and
Yeah.
call it a day.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
When do you want to actually take advantage of it? Because remember, this show was supposed to be seeing multiple movies a month and at least talking about one of them. Disney Plus probably not going to do it, but because Disney Plus started right before the pandemic, so it's hard to tell what their already plan was for things in theaters and when they come. Star Wars was really the first ticket where and Frozen as well, where it was kind of soon, maybe even slightly sooner than now it's available on digital platforms. It was just on Disney Plus. I remember we were kind of assuming foolishly that it would be the exclusive home. They don't give a fuck. They're going to get their money everywhere. You know what I mean? They're going to put it on Amazon Video. It's not going to be on Amazon Prime, but it is going to be for rent on Amazon Video. Why the fuck would they not put Frozen there, right? Frozen actually came to Disney Plus early because of the pandemic. When that first started, they said, hey, here, you want something to see with your families? Subscribe to Disney Plus right now. Not really a gift when they're wanting you to spend $7 a month. But so it's hard to tell what their plan was, but I can see in the last half of this year them starting to do the Premier Access thing with a majority of their films. And then because Mulan was, like I said, a month and a half. Was that its theatrical window? Because that kind of makes sense for they'd be kind of doing the same thing. If they did this for every single movie, no, we would not pay $30 on Disney Plus. We might see it in a movie theater and pay $12 for a ticket or however much they cost. I don't even remember. It's been a year since I've seen a movie in a theater. So whatever they cost would probably do that. But if this is just the same thing, but you have the option of also watching it at home as well as Disney movie by paying $30, that almost doesn't hurt the movie theaters as much as the HBO Max thing now, where it is or at no extra cost to your HBO Max subscription, you can watch Godzilla versus the King Kong at home, right? But if it was, or spend $30, obviously I know you would have, but the numbers might change significantly, and it might. I don't know if that necessarily means theaters would go up because of the pandemic, thing. But if this was a post-pandemic thing and that was an option, obviously I think more people would go see it in theaters than seeing it at home and spending the $30, unless if it wasn't the $30 and it was free. So I think, honestly, Disney will do this idea with the majority of their films.
Yeah.
Because it is tough. Actors do have deals with ticket prices or box offices and how much money they make. It's a lot for the big name actors. It isn't just a paycheck. Here you go. Here's $4 million for your pirate movie, Johnny Depp. It's also a percentage of the box office. If you're straight to streaming, that's problems. So we release it on theaters anyway. Sorry, Orlando Bloom. Or whatever, right?
I don't follow that many actors, but I feel like I haven't really seen people actors complaining too about this whole thing. I feel like they're kind of just I'm happy.
It's hard to complain when you're rich.
Yeah, and also it's not like I'm not making movies still. It's not like they're I can't make it. There was a 6 month, I feel hold. I mean, that's where we got the Imagine fucking video. A week into the pandemic. So I guess they were bored. But I feel like they're not too mad because they can still work. You know what I mean? You can still make your Snyder cut. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm actually curious though. While we're here,
okay,
and this will relate to Sonic. I'm gonna try my best to relate this to Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, the sequel. Paramount Plus is a thing. Paramount produces and distributes Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, the first movie, and it's going to do the second one. And then Sonic is actually a year of this recording, April 8th, a year from now, is going to be the Sonic sequel in theaters. Who's to say Paramount Plus is or you can watch it on Paramount Plus. Because Paramount Plus, I don't think has a huge audience. you could just be like, hey, subscribe. It's $5, whatever it is a month. You can watch Sonic right now with your entire family. You don't have to bring them to the theater.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
You have to be considering it, right? If you're Paramount.
I think you only seriously consider it if it is an all or nothing. If it is all the Warner Brothers stuff in 2022 at the very least, or if not in the future, will come to HBO Max after theaters. Because if it's specific movies, then you're playing with we might actually screw our box office numbers if we do this. Because we might not get the increase in subscribers that we're looking for. But if you say, hey, all of Paramount's movies will be on Paramount Plus after their theatrical window if you're a subscriber to us, then I can see that. I mean, honestly,
Paramount Plus came out March 4th, by the way. So it's barely a month old, too.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta keep that in mind, too. Like, maybe they'll in a year from now, will they be, if they don't see the numbers they want, they might have to put something, if they really care about their streaming service, you have to drop something on there, right?
I bet they'll watch Peacock and Universal. Universal owns NBC, which is what Peacock is. I bet they see what Universal does. Because Universal made that deal with AMC.
That's right.
So I don't know if that affects how they can put it on Peacock.
I just realized this is like World War I level of treaties and agreements. Who will be the victor out of all this?
AMC is like not Britain. What would AMC be? Because they have ties with a lot of people.
Austria-Hungary. They had a deal, or no, sorry, they'd be Italy. Italy has ties with both.
That makes sense.
The Allies and the bad guys. And in the end, they'll switch sides. Whoever one's profitable at the end, they will switch sides for. So they're like, you know what? We're going fucking streaming service. Fuck you. You know what I mean? I can see them doing that. They're Italy in World War I.
God, you just remind me of the fact that AMC wanted to make me pay like $5 to watch a movie on my phone. remember
Dude, they tried so hard, man. Why didn't they just? Maybe they just didn't have. They were not ready for this pandemic. That's all.
No, there was no app.
They could have made a PlayStation 4 app, and it could have been bare bones as fuck, and they could have just been like, look, you can watch all movies in theaters and maybe like a month after they were supposed to come out for $10. And I probably would have considered. We probably could have done what we wanted to do originally and just done that. I think we would have been down for that.
Right.
Or use our AMC Stubs card and be like, you can keep that, and you can watch any movie 3 times a week. I'll be like, you know what? I'll probably keep this.
Might as well.
I will watch The Mutants. I'm trying to think of much different movies today that no one remembers.
Sure. So that's very interesting shenanigans going on in the world of movies. I am way more hopeful this time around than the last time we were talking about streaming services and theatrical runs. I think
the war will be over by Christmas. Legit,
there's a war on Christmas.
It might be over by Christmas. Pandemic, who knows?
I think that a year of guys, just take a breather. Yes, freak out because the fate of your companies are at risk, AMC in particular. But don't jump to conclusions right yet. Remember when AMC bitched about the Warner Brothers HBO Max thing, and they said back in December with vaccines right around the corner. It's now April, and now we're at maybe 1 in 4 people. Maybe.
I think we are around there, but I don't think it was December when they said that. I think it was August. I remember it was August or July. I feel like when they said that. They were the pandemic's almost over.
But the most recent time where they said they were upset with Warner Brothers' decision to do the HBO Max thing beyond Wonder Woman because it will affect their business with vaccines right around the corner. We'll bounce back next month. It didn't happen.
Well, my boy Godzilla got AMC some money, all right? So AMC, chill, dog. We were on your side, but chill.
A little bit of money. Well, they also they also benefited from the GameStop shit, so who knows?
Yeah.
GameStop is doing shit right now.
The nerds will not let AMC die.
So I am way more hopeful about the future of movies and streaming services and all that, and I feel like it's at a point now where it feels like everyone is just going to make their money, and it makes sense, and it seems like such a simple idea too. Honestly, this is just that but simple. Yet, it might not be in theaters for as long as movies used to be, but you're still guaranteeing that money. So I think it's great. In any case, This is the Sonic movie show, but it's also the Sonic movie show. And Sonic is owned by Sega. I'm sorry, I'm trying to segue this. We have one more piece of news to talk about today, and this has nothing to do with movies, but has everything to do with entertainment and big events and going digital this year. The Electronic Software Association has announced its plans for the first digital-only E3. E3 every year for the past 20-ish years or so is this big event where essentially it is a press event where the press can learn about brand new video games being developed by our favorite publishers. Sega is one of them, etc. Gamers know what E3 is. E3 has changed over the years, and in recent years, it has doxed all of its attendees, burned plenty of bridges by not actually apologizing or paying anything. They got sued like crazy for that. It was insane, yeah. And they've been getting smaller and smaller. Big names have been leaving. A lot of names have realized they don't need to pay money to do a press conference there. Nintendo decided years ago, hey,
YouTube is free.
Why would we pay you 10 grand or however it was to do a press conference there when we can just have a video go up on YouTube that's more polished? No one will make fun of us on stage because we'll edit the shit and make it good, right?
No more cringe.
Exactly, right. Or if there is cringe, we made it so on purpose. You know what I mean? We can control it. Or we're tone deaf and we don't know what our audience will expect from us. In any case, people have dropped out of E3 a few years ago, or for over the past few years, rather. Sony, even before COVID affected E3 in quotes, Sony said, hey, we're not doing E3. A lot of people jumped off the E3 thing. I think the doxing thing, the accidental doxing thing was a big factor of it. And just the fact that, like, E3, which is run by the Electronic Software Association, the ESA, which essentially is the video game lobbying thing for the American government. That's what it is. It is a technically for-profit organization run by the video game industry, so to speak.
A for-profit thing in a entertainment industry? What? That's
right.
Crazy.
My point is that it's not a non-profit. It is a for-profit thing. They want to make money, and they also lobby the hell out of making sure that you can shoot as many people in the head in a video game in our government, but don't show boobies. Right? Whatever. They have been taking plenty of steps over the past couple of years to try to make this more of a fan event. E3 a few years ago was open to the public for the first time. If you can buy a ticket, go to E3. And no one was prepared for it. There was no space for that.
Which is crazy to think that wasn't a thing earlier.
You know because it was a press event.
I know,
PAX
but like
was like the thing.
They could have done so much. Like they could have been ahead of the game by doing just like a Comic-Con kind of thing,
right.
Or just like even have things outdoors. Bunch of tents out in the parking lot and have people walk in and have like indie developers, you know.
Two different things. Devolver always has stuff out in the parking lots for people to go to, right? But like E3 is, in the past has been the press gets to see new games. It gets hands-on so they can write preview coverage of it. That's where, you know, in the days of not necessarily being able to trust the internet to deliver large video files, you'd get your copy of the video to put on your website, etc. And as well as in the offices around the LA Convention Center, that's where the GameStop deals of like, okay, yes, we will order this many units from you to our stores. It's part business
there. Yep.
Exactly, right? And press. The fans get excited because that's where we get to see new games get announced because the press is there. Press doesn't need to be there anymore for these companies to make announcements. That's why E3 wants to make itself not an expo, but an experience. It wants to make itself a place for gamers to, it just wants to be PAX. And they've struggled the past few years to do it. Like I said, when they first opened to the public, the Nintendo booth was swamped so much that like you just didn't get to see anything. You paid for a ticket, and you might not have actually got to see anything.
Maybe they should. Yeah,
sucks.
They should have like counted how many people could actually fit in a room before giving out tickets. You'd think.
Yeah, the ESA has been bungling E3 for plenty of years. That's why major companies have left. EA left. They're doing their own thing.
The
Microsoft
gamers
stays,
have started
but they kind of do their own thing. And Sony left. In any case, they canceled last year's. A lot of events in June canceled last year because of the pandemic and not having the infrastructure to do a digital-only event. This year they are doing a digital-only event, and there's a few more absences this time around. So I have this from IGN.com. They have a very succinct version of the information, so I'm reading it from them. E3, which will include Nintendo and Xbox, does not currently include Sony. Taking place from June 12th to the 15th, E3 2021 is confirmed to include appearances from Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactive, Warner Brothers Games, and Koch Media. There's no Sony, but in addition to that, there is no EA, which has been doing its own EA Play thing, as we've seen for the past few years. But there's no Square Enix, no Sega, no Bandai Namco, no Tencent, 505, or Activision at all. Sega is obviously why we're talking about this. There will be no Sonic announcement at E3 itself, unless it happens at the Xbox or Nintendo event, which could happen. It could. Or it could happen at whatever Sony does around this time. It is very interesting. A lot less names this time around. Square Enix actually used E3 as its big thing. Final Fantasy VII Remake and Avengers were re-revealed E3 2019, the last E3, as that was like a big thing for them. And they're not showing up this year. Bandai Namco usually always has a booth for whatever From Software makes, whatever their new Dark Souls or whatever, etc. Tencent and 505 are understandable. But Activision Blizzard, that means that they're not going to be having hands-on for Call of Duty. The games were always announced at the Sony one, and then there was hands-on demos,
which is the moneymaker for both,
right?
Probably the game reviewers and selling copies or getting hype for that, fans, because Call of Duty always sells. People are always going to look up Call of Duty shit when the new one comes out or when there's previews for it. So that's crazy.
It's interesting. Now, I do know that the ESA, like I've said, they've been bungling E3 for the past few years. They don't know what they want. They're trying lots of things. They've tried a lot of things that don't seem to be anything that makes sense at all, including this year. There has been, and I don't have this article up, but I think it was VGC.com, which has been doing lots of good video game journalism this year so far, reported that the ESA was in talks to do a tier where you could pay money, and they were thinking it might be around $35, to gain more things. There was going to be parts of E3 behind a paywall, essentially, you could pay to experience as a user sitting at home on their computer, likes of which could be demos streamed through to you through NVIDIA's game streaming thing. I'm sure there would be maybe 6 demos, probably. Not a whole lot. You're not going to be streaming anything from Nintendo or Xbox. You know what I mean? It's just going to be like, oh, Devolver has Hotline Miami 3 or some weird game about a chicken. You know what I mean? Whatever random shit. There you go. You can do that, right? Or Steam, honestly, has been doing better demo shit during E3 about that stuff and during Gamescom.
True.
That was that kind of stuff. And then the report was that, but it's so early. And one major publisher said, why the hell would you want to do this? One of the major publishers that's apparently on this list, my guess is probably Xbox, if I were to make a guess, because I don't think Nintendo cares. And out of here, like Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, maybe it was Ubisoft, one of the major publishers told the ESA, don't do this. This is a stupid idea. And that they probably could easily just decide not to do it. ESA came out and said, no, we're not doing it. It's free to experience for everyone, etc. They are trying so many weird things behind the scenes, and it's like just kind of coming together by the strands of it at the very last second, it seems. So I'm cautiously optimistic for E3. Personally, I don't think E3 has been anything like what it was in the past, where it was like, oh my god, what's Sony gonna announce? I'm so excited. Now it's like Sony can just announce a video or like a Nintendo Direct style thing at any moment. Like the hype is gone. E3 doesn't feel like it's this big thing anymore. What do you think?
I never really was like into E3 or the Game Awards, rather, like the big events. I just never was really like into them. I'd rather just watch the trailers later. I didn't need to watch it as it was happening. Have I tuned in for some? Of course. But I wasn't going to be like, I'm going to mark this on my schedule. Like, oh my God, like Sony's doing this. Oh, maybe God of War. Like even when God of War, my favorite franchise, was coming out, I didn't see the trailer live. I just was like, oh, cool. I'm going to watch this on YouTube when there's no fan reaction, no Flute Guy, and then for Ghost of Tsushima, that kind of stuff. I think that was Game Awards, anyways. But
no, that was E3.
Was it E3? Yeah. So like to me, I'm kind of just like indifferent on it. I will say the Game Awards has gotten better in the last several years. I think it's only gotten better. I feel like they've done a better job of polishing it and making it less gamery and cringy at moments and making it more just like, here's trailers, here's the awards, no Gillette Man. Cool, great. Let's make this
Hydrobot.
Yeah, I know that you don't have to be like the Grammys or anything like that, but you could do it in a way where it feels professional. Like, yeah, video games are fun and goofy, but like there's a
not
way
embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way to describe it. So like to me, I don't know. I always see people saying E3 is dead. I'm like, sure, I guess. To me, it's dead because I never really watched it. So like, but to see like Sony back out and like, all these other companies, I feel like it would just take maybe like Microsoft or Nintendo to like uncommit. That would kind of just.
I can see Nintendo doing it first. Nintendo doesn't use their press presentation conference stage. They don't do that. They really just have a booth for, I guess now, fans to come and see, and just it's easier to have press hands-on demos if they're all there anyway. Might as well. It's an easy place to do it.
I don't think E3 is going to die. I mean, I think if one of them, like Nintendo or Xbox, Microsoft, leaves, I think that will really like hamper it. But I don't think people will just like, it'll just disappear. I don't think it'll ever go. It'll just be changed to something different. It might just turn into a business thing, and reporters would still go there to hear interviews from CEOs, and that's all. There'll be no more fans or anything. Maybe they'll still do trailers, but it'll just be digital. There won't be an event, right, where there's tickets sold or passes given out. It's just like, hey, we know this happens. It's like fiscal year meetings that every company does with their business partners. That's what I think the possibility of what it could be if like E3 as in mid 2000s was. It would be gone. It'd be something like that, I think. I don't think it'll ever die. It just won't be the E3 that we know. So I guess, yeah, it is dead in that way. But hey, everything good dies.
It's true.
So, like, maybe it will be gone one day. Maybe 50 years from now, we'll be like, oh, yeah, remember E3? What? What, Dad? What's E3? Oh, don't worry about it, kid. Oh, we have E4. I'm like, oh.
There are 4 things that start with E. I was always a big fan of E3. I would try to take off from work if I could, if not just get lucky and have those days off. And I would watch, for the most part, all of the conferences, just because I thought it was fun to be a part of the conversation when things are happening. And it is fun to be like watching. It's fun to be fanboying about a company like Sony or Nintendo and be like, oh man, they just showed me this game, but it's only been like 40 minutes. Probably going to be another 20 if they're going to stop at an hour. What could they show me? Oh my God, it's Uncharted 4. It's, like that's fun. It's fun to be surprised by a company that is just going to do things that you like already. It's fun that way. I don't see myself getting that level of E3 ever again. It is going to be separate because I think all these major companies, Nintendo, Sony, Xbox, Activision, Ubisoft, EA, those main 6 at the very least, understand that they'll get way more attention if they are away from each other. If all of their announcements are happening in the same 3-day period, stuff's going to get overlooked because I'm going to watch all the Sony stuff before I go see what Ubisoft does because I don't really care that much. But if Ubisoft comes out in April and has a 40-minute video of all their stuff they want to announce for this year and early next year, yeah, I'll watch it. Because there's nothing else going on major for video games. So they get my attention that they would not have gotten potentially when they're all right next to each other. Yeah. Especially, obviously, news headlines. That it's honestly better for everyone. It's the tinier companies that get overlooked because while you're working your way over to your appointment or whatever, or the Sony booth to see something, the Xbox booth, whatever, you happen to see a small publisher like 505 back in the day. They have a couple games to see. Oh, I'll check that out. They hurt if there's no E3 because they're smaller and no one's going to see them anyway.
Unless
But
you just
they
make it
also
into
benefit,
a more of an indie video game con.
and that's what PAX is awesome for.
Yeah.
And Comic-Con. And
But-
honestly, piggybacking off a PlayStation 5 game showcase or a Nintendo Direct where it's like, hey, Devolver Digital, which does a weird E3 thing every year where this robot lady comes back from space or whatever, and she's the CEO of Devolver Digital, whatever. Like, you know, they have a lot of indie stuff, but a random indie game can be picked up through Sony, or a small publisher can be, you know, be a part of the Sony thing, because Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo all want third-party things to say too. So they kind of all just get scooped up into there.
And doesn't Kind of Funny do that what's it called, their indie show?
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's the
I think it's
that's the
Indie
places
Game
they'll have to
Showcase.
go to, or PAX, like he said, or these other events, or even these. Like, not saying Kind of Funny is the same level of PAX, right? Probably
No.
in terms of getting that, but still it's important. Even at Comic-Con, you can make an argument if your game is related to superheroes or something. I don't know, maybe you could fit in there, but yeah, I feel like it would hurt. That's one thing, like you said, is true, is that if E3 doesn't exist, how do these indie developers adapt? And I think you just have to join on with
Right. You
these
just clump
monopolies,
together. Because
these bigger entities.
indie games don't really compete for with each other. I mean, like, yeah, there's like thousands of them a year of good quality too. When I say good quality, I mean not broken and look like they're fun. That's what I mean in terms of good quality. And like the exceptional ones, there's like 100 exceptional indie games a year that are of like back in like the late 2000s where we were like, oh, this is a good game for a downloadable game. Oh, this Limbo game on Xbox 360, it's a downloadable game, but it's kind of cool. Like, that level of exceptional is just what we see now when we see indie game trailer on YouTube. And there's at least 100 of them a year, right? And then some of them are like Hades, where it's like, yeah, that's technically indie, but that's a AAA game if I've ever seen one. It's not a 3D character model running through a skybox. But that, I don't know, like, if Sony made that, I wouldn't have batted an eye. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That feels AAA. So we're seeing a lot of those as well. Like, if they all clump together, they don't actually compete with each other because they all kind of look rad. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, someone's not going to buy every single one of them, but they weren't going to buy them all anyway. And if they see them all, they might tell someone about them. So you're right there. My only big concern is, like, what does this mean for Sega? Because they kind of just show up at whoever wants to invite them to the dance. They'll pop up in the Sony conference and announce a thing. They'll pop up in Xbox and announce a thing. Nintendo wants to pay them, I guess, for an exclusive reveal of Alex Kidd. I don't know. Sonic the Hedgehog? Sure. What's going to happen with Sonic?
Sega's just been quiet generally, and that goes along with Sonic. And the fact that they're not going to be at E3, right, is going to, I don't know, just isn't surprising, but also kind of just disheartening that, like, there's, like, nothing, like, they're not doing anything at all. Like, it's like, what's going on, bud?
I
like,
know. It's, yeah.
Please don't be bought out. We did a whole episode on that, but, like, the more quiet it is, and also that's my other fear, is that, like, they're making some deal that we don't know of with Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. You know what I mean? Behind, like, the fact that it's even quieter makes me think that, like, oh, right reason Sega's not going to be at A3 is because it's going to be under Nintendo's umbrella.
And, like, a lot of the other companies have... So we've been seeing... 2020 didn't really seem to stop game announcements because games work in such a fashion where you're working on them for years and then games come out. Games weren't delayed out of 2020 for the most part, but games are getting delayed out of 2021 because now we're at the point where the work that should have been done got delayed because of COVID. So, but Sega is one of those companies where I don't really think that they've had much. Like, they were the our last episode we talked about Sonic's Metacritic, but Sega had the highest Metacritic average for their 2020 releases, partially because of A, no Sonic game, and B, there was a re-release of a game people already liked called Persona 5 that just got, hey, I'll give it an extra 10 out of 10 now because we like this game so much. So, like, they went like that, but they didn't really have huge releases. I looked at their list, and besides Persona 5 Royal, there wasn't really like a big thing that I can remember, which makes me think that they still have stuff that they can at least talk about, including Sonic the Hedgehog, right? So I wonder, like, what are they waiting for? It's not like maybe Ubisoft, which might literally have nothing right now. Might have nothing to say. That makes me, I'm not surprised, right, that they're not on the E3 list. But what's Sega doing?
Speculation. No, I was just gonna say speculation, man. I mean, we don't know anything, but the more quiet they are, the more nervous I get. But also, I'm trying to be optimistic, and I'm like, maybe this next Sonic thing that they're making is so good that they need to make sure they don't fuck it up, hyping it up. You know what I mean? That they don't blow it. So they're being extra quiet, not trying to get people too excited, but also get people nervous or anything. But I feel like I'm just getting more nervous than anything. Just like, what's happening? Like, what are you guys doing?
Exactly. I know what we're doing, though. It's the end of the episode. And at the end of every single news episode, we read a Sonic book. Now, in the past, we read the Sonic the Hedgehog novelization of the movie for you all. We finished that a few episodes ago of this fashion, and we're starting to make our own Sonic lore. Our own Sonic fan fiction, essentially. I mean, that's what I'm going to call it now.
The Sonic movie show universe.
Exactly.
The cinematic universe.
We each got our own, and this is really lame, but this is the method in which we're making our lore.
Our madness.
We each got our own Sonic Mad Libs. Devin over there has a general Sonic Mad Libs, and I have one that's about the Sonic movie, and we're each taking turns. It's my turn for this episode to prompt Devin the things, and then I will read our new Sonic lore. This, I guess, is our Sonic movie lore. And Devin, last time, had a story about how chows are made.
I think, or
they
trained.
came out of pumpkins or something.
I don't remember.
Whatever. In any case, I, just like last time when Devin read it to me, I'm going to read off Devin all of the prompts he needs to give me: adjectives, nouns, adverbs, places, dance numbers, etc. And then we'll read off a story. So, Devin, I need from you to start us off an adjective.
Stinky.
I also need from you another adjective.
Slimy. Going for the gross
Next,
stuff.
I'll need a single noun.
Duck.
Another noun, please, sir.
Donkey.
As in the animal?
Yes. Or the Kong.
The
The Kong.
Another adjective, please.
Sexy.
Okay, and a noun.
Walnut.
Okay. Best part is I don't care how this is spelled, because no one's going to see this.
Walnut?
Yeah, because I think it's just one L.
Yes.
Give me a plural noun.
Kids.
An adjective.
Wet. Is that it?
A number.
Number. 4.
A color.
Pink.
Another number.
73.
Plural noun.
Sloths. I had to dig deep in my brain for that, I guess.
Damn, I saw the gears turning for that one. Adjective.
Raunchy.
I know how to spell that word. A place.
Berlin.
I don't know how to spell that. Oh, wait, Berlin. I'm thinking about like
Berlin, yeah.
Burlington Coat
Burlington,
Factory.
Vermont.
Give me another color.
Dark red. Can I just be dark red? If not red, it has to be dark though. I want dark red.
Sure. A plural noun.
Centipedes. Give me a bunch of animals. Good luck spelling that.
Centipedes. Come on, it's easy. And last, our only verb.
Swimming. I'm excited because there's a lot of animals, a lot of weird.
I wrote down
grossness.
swim because I think it has to be like
Okay.
the same thing. All right, so and this is based off the Sonic movie. This one is our new chapter of our Sonic lore is titled "A Palace Fit for a Hedgehog."
Oh.
Sonic's abode is a very danky place. At first glance, it seems like a slimy cave, but if you look closer, you'll see it's actually a comfortable duck. For one, Sonic has a super cozy beanbag donkey.
That's actually dope.
When he feels like listening to some sexy tunes from the 1980s, Sonic turns on his old school walnut.
It's funny that walnut kind of works like Apple in a way. Like it kind of works.
He turns on his old school walnut, pulls out his collection of kids
Oh,
and jams out.
Oh no! Sexy music. Oh no! What I do to Sonic?
Pedo confirmed. Maxine Glinstein, or whatever the Harvey Weinstein friend was. In addition to great tunes, Sonic has plenty of wet equipment to keep him busy.
Oh no! I did not mean for this to happen.
There's a dryer that Sonic uses as a treadmill to run 4 miles a day. He has a hey,
for him, it's pretty. That's not that many.
He has a pink ping pong table where he plays against himself. His record is 73 wins and 0 losses. And for that final touch, Sonic hung sloths all over his cave walls.
Oh, not only is he probably a pedophile, he's also
like a really big game hunter of the slowest creatures on the planet.
He is fast, to be fair. Easy targets.
He's got a raunchy photo of Berlin next to a dark red poster of centipedes. It may not be much, but Sonic loves to swim in his cave all the time.
Swim in what?
His
Sonic.
cave. He fills it with water, I guess.
Wow. They had our Sonic already. Is
Maybe don't write kids next time.
I don't know. That's what came to my head. But it's kids love Sonic, so I thought, well,
Sonic loves kids, apparently. In any case, that was our new chapter of our Sonic lore. If you have your own Sonic lore, aka Sonic fanfiction, we might take a break from ours and read yours next time. Tweet at us at the show, at Sonic Movie Show, if you have your own, or if you want to talk about the news we discussed this week, like Warner Brothers, Sony, and Sega's Sonic absence at E3. I'm Ethan. I'm on Twitter at EthanAbsolutely, and Devin is on Twitter at CURSONA YouTube. We also just recently passed 1 year of our other podcast called The Chronicles of Diesel, where we finally have reached our 13th Vin Diesel episode, where we talk chronologically through his many adventures. Some of them are playable. We'll see you next week for another Sonic Movie Show episode where we might be reviewing an old movie from the 90s called
Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Yep. See you later.
See you later, Sonic. Bye.
Hey guys, Ethan here back again. While editing this episode, the Sonic Colors news kind of leaked a little bit. Sonic Colors Remastered seems to be a real game, as a couple companies that Sega has worked with in the past on localizing other games has essentially said that game exists inadvertently. That's all the news about it so far, so until we get more news about it, we'll talk about it in an actual episode. So see you next time.